on the strange new planet, you have gained access to the temple. You specifically stayed up at the temple and kept an eye out for things and did a little planned on doing a little exploration of yourself. While Inez went back to ostensibly get some equipment, but really to search Homeboy's gear and whatnot, looking for signs of fuckery. Because while you guys were up there, it just felt like something was off. Yeah, just like something was a little off. Did you say hinky?
Hinky.
You've never heard that?
No.
Welcome to the lower 49, whatever the fuck, 48.
Lower 48.
I remember that in a movie. It was in The Fugitive. You ever watch The Fugitive?
Yeah, with
Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And Tommy Lee Jones, he's the U.S. Marshal. He's like, hinky, what's that word? Hinky. I don't want you to use some made-up words around me. Speak English.
Of a person is honest or suspect of an object unreliable. It's a little hinky about it.
Okay. That fits. Yeah. And Inez, you upon getting back to the ship, considering and seeing through, you found some interesting stuff. Like it seemed like
he had labeled his stuff with like the same.
Yeah, like the same markings and stuff that you had seen.
Suspect.
But you felt like, I don't know, it didn't feel quite so malicious after you got done searching his stuff. You know what I mean? Like, get back to the ship, chill out, do some investigation. Not quite so malicious as it previously had. And if I remember correctly, that is where we left off. The Destiny pool is currently too dark, too light. I will be spending those tonight for sure. So, also I did not make a map again because I forgot about it until this weekend, and I was studying all weekend.
You want to hear something wild? Sorry, this is completely off topic. I'm uploading a YouTube video right now, and already a bot has managed to put a comment on a video that's not uploaded to a virus site. How in the world is that possible?
I don't know, man, but it's weird.
Hackers, man.
That is really weird.
AI.
Oh, okay. Well, so I left off stealthed in the corner listening to them, and I remember hearing them say, "Where did the Mandalorian go? And wasn't he here?" Basically.
Yeah.
And I was trying to identify if they were going. I was looking for them to say something that would kind of point me not in the direction. It would kind of alert me to their malfeasance.
Yes.
But so far, I don't think I've heard anything. But it's only been a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say you haven't really heard anything. The only thing that you noticed that seemed unusual is, Buddy, the Dr. Livingston had a pendant, like a necklace pendant, that had a strange jewel in it and appeared to be like made out of the same black material as the inside of the temple, which you guys were pretty sure was not like, it wasn't just carved out of the native rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was brought in.
Yeah, or created in some way. It's not the same as the stone around it, as the natural stone around it.
This might be a little bit out of my character skill set, but Would Keltar know if this was like a volcanic mountain that we're on? Can I do some sort of knowledge check on that?
Yeah, I was going to say you can do. Give me a second here.
Outer Rim, I would think, right?
I'm probably going to make it education.
Okay. Actually, it makes no difference for me. All of mine have the same dice pool, so.
Stupid motherfuckers.
Yeah, do you don't have any ranks in education?
No.
And you have no specific reason why your character would be an expert or have training in geology?
No, he wouldn't have any expert knowledge or training. No.
Okay.
It's just a feeling, let's say.
I'm going to make it a hard check with 2 setback.
Okay. It's the worst that could happen. I get an aneurysm while trying to think about it.
Taking a thinking headache, man.
Mando brain hurt, must kill beasts.
Oh my word. Well, that's 1 failure, 1 disadvantage.
Okay. 1 failure, 1 disadvantage. All right, yeah, you have no idea. Like, it's not the same as the rocks on the outside of the hill. I mean, like, you're reasonably sure that it is some sort of stone.
Yeah.
Like, but like outside of that, this looks different than the other one type of thing.
It's Naquita.
Naquita. What if it was Naquita?
What if it was Naquita? You got a crossover. Whoa, exciting.
No, I'm definitely not giving you guys Naquita in any way, shape, or form. It's a material from Stargate.
Or Naquadria.
Goa'uld like to force humans to mine because it's super powerful, and also, like, if you had it, like, near an atomic bomb when it goes off, it multiplies the explosion 100 times.
Oh, that sounds super fun.
Yeah, pretty useful and important stuff. I think, isn't it also, like, pretty much mandatory for Stargate construction?
Yeah, the whole ring is made out of Naquita.
Yeah. It's the, like, plot devicium of Stargate.
Nice.
Okay, well, I think something's funky, something's fishy going on here. So I think I'd like to just observe their work for a few minutes.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an average perception check.
Okay. Okay, we got 1 success, 3 advantage.
1 success, 3 advantage. Okay. It really doesn't look that unusual. Like, they're doing everything that they said they were going to be doing. They're setting up their field research. Some of the stuff is being set up inside, some of it's being set up outside. Because there's only that 2-foot gap in the door.
Yeah.
So it's it's hard to get some of the stuff they can't get in, like some of the larger pieces of equipment they're setting up outside under, like, covered tents. But aside from just setting stuff up, they're not really doing anything suspicious. You do occasionally hear them speak to each other or make comments in a language you don't understand. Do you understand any languages besides Mando and Common? I mean, I'm assuming you speak Mandoa.
I'm pretty sure I speak Mandoa. I'm trying to find the page that it's on because don't.
I don't know. I don't have a section for languages.
Oh.
Like it's pretty much assumed that everybody speaks, like as long as they're capable, speaks their base language and basic. Wookiees are one of the exceptions because they can't speak basic.
Oh, I didn't know they couldn't. Well, my story says I come from a long line of Mandalorian warriors, so I should be able to speak Mandoa and basic.
Yeah. So yeah, if you don't have any reason now, like if you want to learn languages, it's not hard. It's pretty easy actually in the Star Wars universe to pick up languages. Like I don't know if like liquid structure is all just super similar or what, but like it's not very hard to learn different languages in Star Wars. You know, not like real life or Dungeons and Dragons where it's like 3 years of study and you can speak some Draconic. Like.
Or 3 years to study and you have 2nd grade level Spanish.
Right, exactly.
Which is where I stand with my Spanish.
Exactly. But yeah, so you hear them use some phrases and occasional sentences in a language you don't understand. But outside of that, you don't know, like you don't see anything unusual.
Okay, well, my goal here is I want them to become so confused as to why I'm gone that they reveal some truth to me. Because, well, not necessarily they reveal, but I'm looking for them to come looking for me.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I would imagine that would take a while, but they would eventually wonder, where did our bodyguard go and why is he missing? And, somebody looks for him. That sounds logical, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like they're here to do archaeological stuff and you guys were hired to transport them and provide security if needed, like you had told them that you were going to go scout the area.
Yeah.
Before you disappeared. So like, I mean, if you didn't come back before dark, they might be like, "Oh, where'd he go?" You know what I mean? But like, because I mean, like as far as you guys know, there should be nothing in the temple because you guys just got in there. You opened it up. I mean, maybe some of the bird creatures could have gotten in from one of the other vents, but like, there's no, you know what I mean? Like, as far as everybody knows, there's nothing weird in the temple. So and like, you guys are in a pretty well protected, like almost box canyon. So like, it would make sense that any threat would be outside the canyon, and that you might be looking for a threat out there. I don't think any interactions would raise suspicion with them. But I can roll for him. Let me roll Livingston's perception. And I actually probably should have made a whole thing about this. I probably should have made a more in-depth character for him. But I do know what I wanted some of his basic stats to be. So we will go. Which was perception? Perception is under cunning. All right. I'm giving him an average check with a setback die. Holy shit. With a setback die because he doesn't know anything about military shit, but he got 2 fucking triumphs. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah, my second monitor's contrast is terrible. I can barely see it. Okay, so that's what? A success and 2 triumph?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
What a waste of a roll. Oh my god. I would have loved to have rolled that on a combat encounter and crit one of you guys twice. That would have been so much fun.
I can't even be mad about that.
Bad news, guys. You got a double crit. You got to roll twice on that bad boy.
Well, son of a bitch.
Okay. How would I even spend 2 triumphs? You know what? He sees you. Like, he finds you. Like, he's putting stuff away. And he's like, oh, what are you doing over there? Keltar, correct? Keltar, that was your name.
Yeah, I'm meditating.
What are you doing behind those crates over there, Keltar?
I'm meditating.
Give me a deception check.
Take a shit real quick. To cover your tracks.
Give me a hard deception check. Actually, you know what? We're gonna run it against his. Oh, what would be the appropriate skill for deception?
Skullduggery. To see around the deception.
I was gonna say skullduggery.
Charm?
Like anything about bullshit. With someone who has
Perception.
Cool.
Perception.
Okay. Go ahead and give me. You're gonna roll against his perception. So, which is apparently, I think he just rolled his best perception check ever. So it'll be 2 red and a purple.
Oh my gosh.
Against your deception check.
In 1 second. 1 disadvantage.
That's it? You only got 1 disadvantage?
Yeah, everything else canceled out.
Wow. Okay. Good for you. Weird dice night for everybody.
Cliche, but this one.
Yeah, okay. And he goes, huh. I've read something of the Mandalorians culture. What is available to scholars? I thought at one point there might have been a connection to a different people a different group that I was studying in my younger years, and I don't remember any traditions of regular meditation outside of pre-combat rituals. Is this a new? If you don't mind sharing, is this a new tradition? And you can tell he's like, that's a little sus. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little suspect.
It's just something I've done ever since I was a child. My father raised me this way. It's not part of my religion.
Interesting. Okay, and you can tell you've piqued his interest. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't totally buy it, but it got his attention. It got like
I'll take it.
It's like he doesn't totally buy it, but also it's a weird thing to call somebody a liar over. So
see, playing D&D helps you with this. See, my mental ability to come up with some BS is getting better.
Yeah, for sure. The more you play these games, the better you get.
Honestly, my negotiation in real life has gotten way better.
Oh, I bet. It's like one of the nice things about tabletop RPGs, and it's why I like to use it for kids, for the kids in the house, is like, it's all, like, despite the combat and everything, it's all social skill practice.
It really is.
You know?
Zero consequences.
Like, yeah, it's all like low stakes social skill rehearsals. So if you're just like, yeah, man, like, I just want it. Like, oh, well, that's not a very persuasive argument. Like, how about you try to convince me?
And if you're a DM, it's really good for teaching you how to prepare. Just in general.
Yeah.
And storytell and remember details and come up with things quickly and operate under stress. Like, it's making me a better person.
You'd be surprised like how many people I've heard say stuff like that. Like there's this one guy who was like, yeah, like I've been playing like almost exclusively Force and Destiny campaigns for like 6 years, and like playing Jedi like 2 or 3 times a week for 6 years has legitimately made me a better person. Like it's like it's made me a better human being. Like, because it's like whenever like some shit goes down, like my natural instinct is like, all right, let's remain calm and resolve this situation in a way that works for everyone. Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
It does. Okay, so I mostly got away with it.
Like, he's kind of throws you like a weird look. But because is anything any threats on the horizon out in the woods?
Not since I last checked.
Of any kind?
It's about time I go out and check once more.
Oh, okay.
There's not enough activity to deem constant watch. So it's been a while since I went out there. I might as well go take a look right now since we're talking about it. Have you stumbled across any interesting discoveries? I'm just curious.
Well, first of all, I've got to say, a temple in this condition is a very rare find. We've done quite well today. Just gaining access.
Oh.
That's a big deal. I mean, a lot of the sites that I've been to, we would maybe get a half worn away section of one of these walls. But, I mean, here, remarkably well preserved. Every wall is maintained in great detail. We don't even need half of this equipment. Half of this equipment is just to try to glean what the carvings used to be before time and weather eroded them.
Oh.
And I don't even think that's going to be necessary unless there's, an aquifer deeper down in some deep subterranean level. But no, mostly just trying to get this equipment set up. We've got to date it and record it and, start trying to transcribe some of it. I mean, honestly, we'll probably learn many new words just from these walls. It's a spectacular find. Everything is in better condition than I had hoped.
So you're here to learn a language, then?
Well, if you want to understand the people, it helps to learn their language. And while we have quite a bit of it, each. Did I ever tell you about how these religions work?
No, I'm fascinated.
So it's quite fascinating how a largely primitive people can even obtain space travel. And from what we can understand, they were deeply nomadic. They would, once a civilization reached a certain size and technology level, they would build a ship or 2 or 3 and send them out into the void to spread themselves out. And then those ships would crash, be consumed, and then they would have nothing left but their holy writings to lead them on their growth. But they had so many deities, and even disciples of their deities could start their own churches if they were imbued with the power of the gods, so to speak. And these writings were protected by specific sects, and everybody was in one sect or another. Some people were in multiple sects, from what we can understand. And these sects would hold on to the knowledge and preserve it until eventually the people were able to get to the point where they understood it enough to follow the instructions. There was a whole god of building ships, and they were one of the most important deities that held a lot of power in their society, from what we can tell. They always had the nicest stuff, and they would hold on to these teachings and writings and memorize them and make everybody memorize them. So they would have the processes down for building ships memorized across maybe 500 individuals. But they didn't, even if they didn't have the ability, they just sat on the knowledge until they did, which served them surprisingly well against the Infinite Empire, because they were largely on the lookout for advanced civilizations, threats to their empire. And some slaves, we understand, lots and lots of slaves, and it's not really sure why. We think there might have been death cults involved, but we don't really know.
Huh.
But again, this is a tremendous find.
Very interesting. So, you don't know how they made the ships, do you?
No, unfortunately, we don't know how they made the ships. We haven't found. I mean, hang on one second. Let me look at my notes because I have the name of the shipbuilding god. Oh. Hazazel was the god of shipbuilding, and their temples were usually in the center of towns. Most of the information we have about Hazazel has actually come from other temples referencing him. Most of the villages, most of the sites that we found that what we suspect are temples to Hazazel have been long destroyed. Coincidentally, it's the obscure and less popular deities like this one that kind of either built their temples in secret or in seclusion that are the most well preserved. This being one of definitely the best example we found. I'll probably spend most of my career here.
Oh, wow. So, I imagine then we're going to be either bringing in more people or to assist with the translation, or what's the long-term plan here?
Well, initially we wanted to just verify that it was the site that we thought it was. Which, I mean, we haven't, not to 100%, but we're pretty sure enough that we could secure funding. But while we're here, now that we're here, it didn't take us very long to establish that. I figure we're good for a little bit. I'd like to get some more information. The more information we have about specifically who this temple is to, the more information we can present to the university, the better our funding will be. And I'd very much like to fund a more long-term mission. Like I said, this has been my life's work, and this is the best example we've found so far.
Got it. Okay. So, okay. All right. Well, that is all very interesting. Does that mean that you're going to need us for a long term, or is this still a shorter term deal?
Well, I mean, depends on what depends on your interest and how much funding we can secure. It shouldn't take us more than a few weeks to. Really, what we need to do is find the altar. Every temple has an altar, from what we can determine, and that will give us. Once we locate the altar, that will give us a lot of work towards authenticating this as both a site of the people and also determining which deity this is. And once we have that, we'll probably we'll be about as far as we can go without bringing in some more specialists and much more equipment. Honestly, we may need to bring in some construction crews to widen this canyon a little bit so we have enough room to even set up. I'm hoping for a big dig site here, in the next couple of years.
Oh, wow.
And very animated, just from like you can tell he will literally talk your ear off about this topic until you fall asleep.
Okay. Well then, Keltar probably, since he's not the most social of types, will kind of start inching towards the door and say, "Well, this has been interesting, but I better check and make sure the coast is clear. Um, good luck with your work."
Oh, yes, thank you very much. If you see any large animals, please do let me know. My heart's not as good as it once was.
You bet. We'll take care of them. Okay,
Excellent. And he goes back to like shining lights on things and like doing like yes.
Yes. Okay, so I'll kind of like go out the door, walk a short distance, keep my eyes open for creatures, but then I'm going to get on my comm link and basically relay what I've learned through that conversation to Anaz.
Before you do that, give me a 2 purple, 1 red perception check.
Okay. I kind of figured that was coming. Oh, thank God. No despair. 2 success, 2 advantage. Yeah.
You don't really know why. Like everything he said made sense. Like it all seemed truthful in his, like he seemed truthful in his statements. But you just kind of got the vibe that like something wasn't right. Like nothing he said sounded inaccurate. Maybe almost like his timetable was a little quick. You know what I mean? Or maybe like he was in a rush of some kind.
Maybe there's some ulterior motive going on.
Like every time she opens her mouth.
Yeah, like when every time Nancy Pelosi opens her mouth, you're just like, I mean,
I get your sentence.
The words that are coming out make sense, but I just feel dirty listening to it. No, yeah, possibly motive.
So he's a sleazebag, is what you're saying.
Well, it just sounded off. It just sounded off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like he was very like his interest obviously seemed genuine, and you couldn't land on any specific statement that sounded wrong. I was more of a feeling than anything. And like I said, like maybe his timetable was a little wonky, or just man, well, maybe this is a lot of equipment if we only have to find an altar and authenticate.
Right.
Just something about it wasn't quite. It just didn't quite feel on the up and up.
Okay, and now I'm going to need a reminder. Did Anaz tell me about the crates having the language on them, or did I not hear that yet?
I don't think that has been discussed yet, but this would be an awesome time for you guys to get in touch.
Okay, because
I think you had left. You were going to bed, and then like we just finished out my part. So no.
Okay.
And which I will relay what I found to you, which was a lot of equipment as well. But they all, the fact that they all were labeled with that, like, with the same language that we found on the inside.
Yeah.
Of the temple.
Okay.
Which led me to believe that he may not be as ignorant about these people or this place.
As he lets on.
Right. Okay. Again, like nothing malicious, just like not truthful.
Okay. All right. Well, let's say that over the comm link, if I'm able to reach you, I'll fill you in on what we've said. That way, we're not just talking out a game here. We're discussing as characters. Like, if his gear is already labeled in a language that he's still deciphering, that does seem a little fishy. Like, why would he label his gear in a language that he only speaks broken? He doesn't speak it completely. He's not fluent in the language from how he described it to me. So why would he label his gear in that?
It's also worth noting you did not recognize most of it. Do you remember?
Oh, but I already looked in there because I was about to start opening up.
Oh, had you? I thought you had poked around a little. Because I thought you were getting ready to head back.
No, I only remember just finding.
Okay. Well, then I misremembered.
I'm not surprised. I probably wouldn't recognize most of the equipment. Because I'm not, if it ain't guns or nuts.
Maybe. I'm really curious what the gear is.
But I'll be headed back up like within the day.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
I think I would ask you to check and kind of figure out what the gear is and take a closer look because I'm curious. And maybe I could take a look at what's inside the temple already because something seems fishy and I kind of want to put the puzzle together and figure out what he's up to.
Start asking him about what his equipment does. Like, fuck the lore for right now.
Okay. And, like, go in there and just act like I'm just genuinely curious. I'm like, oh, what's this do? What does this do? Okay. I agree. That's kind of the approach I was thinking of. And then I'm going to ask him about the necklace as well, because I have noticed that the necklace is made out of that black material that is also used in the temple building. I think I'll ask him about that and see what his response is. But I might wait on that until after I ask him about the other stuff, because I don't want to make him angry.
Ask him about the necklace first, actually, because he seems to have like really well thought out answers for all of these questions that he was supposed to come here to answer.
Okay. You think he would be honest if I asked him first about the necklace? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. Yeah, just ask him about it.
Okay.
It doesn't seem malicious.
Right. Okay. Do you want to do anything before I continue? I don't want to leave you out of this process.
Oh, no. I trust you.
Okay. All right.
But you have to look around, like, maybe some more of his, like, personal effects.
I think it would be wise for me to walk around for a few minutes and get an actual idea of what's around outside. One, so that I'm aware, and two, so that he's not thinking suspiciously of me for, like, walking out for a couple seconds and then coming back in. Like, that's not really scoping out the area. So I'll take, let's say, about half an hour to look outside of the temple entrance, make sure there's no threats, do a threat assessment, and then head back in. And when I head back in, I'm gonna walk straight over to his gear and start looking at it kind of close.
Okay. First off, let's do your inspection of the outside area.
Got it. Okay.
Go ahead and give me a. Are you trying to be sneaky as you stalk around the woods, or are you not making any bones about your whereabouts?
I don't see a need to be sneaky.
Okay. Then in that case, give me a hard survival check with 2 setback die.
Hard survival? Okay.
Yes.
I don't even know where my survival.
We resolve this. We will skip over to Liz's investigation of the ship and the fellow's personal effects.
Wow. 1 disadvantage.
You're slogging around the woods and the hillside. most of the game and animals are gone before you even get there. You're not making much of an effort to be stealthy, and on top of that, you lose your footing a few times, scatter some rocks, knock a tree, knock into a tree, trip and swear. So like most of the animals, like most of the stuff that can move has moved.
Okay.
But you do notice that there's a weird like line of division where like the forest just kind of stops after it gets to a certain like altitude down the hill, and then that kind of yellow tall grass stuff takes over it, and it's a pretty it's a pretty firm line, as far as territory goes. You're like, yeah, it's kind of like you walk and then all of a sudden you come out of the trees and it's all yellow grass, and it's pretty even across the altitude.
Well, I think I'll take note of that, but honestly, Keltar's not enough of a scientist to figure out why. I'm struggling with the. I'm immediately thinking of of things as Dan, reasons why that would be the case, but Keltar wouldn't understand that.
Oh, I know. That's why I've thrown that in there.
You got to throw in something that intrigues me as the player, not the character. Okay. Well, that's odd, I say to myself, and continue about, not thinking anything else of it. And it's like, that's weird. It's kind of an odd change of scenery, whatever, and head back towards the temple.
Yeah, but other than that, you don't really find anything. It's like, it's some random planet. There's you might see like this planet's equivalent of like a jackrabbit take off as you get too close or something. Like for the most part, like you don't see anything particularly interesting or concerning, and no big animals. Although, again, you're not using the best bushcraft ever either. Inez, you are on the ship.
I am.
What's your next move?
So I want to go see if he left any like behind, like correspondence with anybody. He kind of like knows, you know what I mean, like clue, yeah, as to what like the real name, yeah.
Are we splitting up and looking for clues? Are we playing Scooby Doo?
I mean, kind of.
I'm gonna take one more quick look around. Like, I mean, I'm not going, but yeah.
Okay. So you want to like check his quarters, so to speak. Okay. Go ahead and give me a average perception check.
Two success. No, two advantage.
Two advantage. Okay. You don't find anything weird or out of the ordinary, but you also don't find hardly anything that looks like it's his wife's. It looks like almost everything is his, and then there's pictures and notes and dig site stuff. And like you even see like pictures of other digs, that he's like kind of tacked to the wall or something, or like in a frame or on like a little hollow reel somewhere. But like you like the wife is in some of them, but like you don't really see anything that says this doesn't belong to him specifically. Other than that, you don't really see anything of interest.
Interesting.
You want to open crates or?
Yeah, let's open the crates.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception check. Give me an average one. Or give me a hard one. With one setback die, since you're not an archaeologist by any means.
Oh shit, I forgot to put my face on.
Okay. So all of the equipment that is like labeled in basic looks pretty recognizable. You know, like all the crates that are, it's like, okay, like I don't know exactly what it does, but like it, you know, like this looks like some science shit. You know what I mean? Like this looks like very normal, like yeah, like nerd shit. I don't know. You know, like
big diggy things.
Right, big diggy things and brushes and like, you know, like magnifying, like huge magnifying glasses and like, you know, things like that. The stuff that is like labeled with the symbols, the pictorial symbols, you're not really sure what it is, but it looks different. You know, it looks like these might be like some like tools that he had to make or something, and it's not really clear what they're for. Like they don't look like they were made in a factory. Let me put it that way.
Right, so he had a home or something. So there's something like special that he needs. You can't get.
Yeah.
This is a DIY guy.
The community doesn't have these things.
Right. And I was gonna say you don't have any advantage, so I'm not gonna give you more information. So I would say, but that being said, like as a big game hunter, you also like know that custom equipment is not uncommon for people who spend a lot of time like doing a specific task. Like you know, like I need this specific thing, so I had to mod it myself or like scratch build it.
But that makes me think that he knew enough about the site to know what he would specifically need to scratch build.
Possibly.
And he knows enough of the language. Oh, but I don't have any way to like. Okay, I'm gonna get a piece of paper and I'm gonna like draw out as best I can the symbols. Something so I can like go back and what to remember.
Okay. Don't you have a holo recorder? I feel like you guys have a holo.
I asked about last time.
Oh, you did ask about mine one last time.
Right before the last game. But no.
Bummer. Yeah, you can like on your data pad like sketch out.
Right, like open up Paint.
Right, and like roughly sketch out the symbols.
What they look like.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna run back to the site.
Okay.
As fast as my Havoc feet will allow me. And then I'm gonna let Kelthar know.
But before you go, Jess, your young, eager pilot / mechanic, like, hey, do you guys need anything up there?
Oh, poor Jess. He probably is bored out of his damn mind.
Because, I mean, if you don't, I can leave Pettigrew, weird name, by the way, but I can leave Pettigrew to guard the ship, and I'd really like to get a few test runs in on some modifications I made to my swoop. I'm thinking when we get back, I might be ready for another race. And I mean, this is some pretty good flat terrain. Most of the rocks are pretty visible. I'd like to get in a few test runs.
I feel you, dude. I'm definitely like, that's definitely something you can do. Like, we're always gonna let you like, you know what I mean? Like, okay. I get it. Like, you're not. Remember to keep your comlink on you.
Yeah, of course.
We don't know shit about medicine, so don't maybe be one of those bosses though that like has to sign like make up a waiver for every goddamn thing. Like, just know that if you get hurt out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
Fair enough.
We have a med kit in the back. Like,
Yeah.
you do you, but I just want you to, like, full disclosure before you got into some crazy shit. 'Cause I get it, man.
No, that's it. Just really, I want to put some of these new systems through their
Oh,
paces.
yeah.
And I'm going to need to tweak them. But I figure while I'm here, I've gotten to the point where I kind of need to run some tests. So it's cool if I leave Pettigrew here by himself.
I mean, if you hadn't seen anything, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You would have told me about it.
I haven't seen anything. It's just grass and occasional animals, but I mean, nothing big. Certainly
anything
nothing
interesting looking to hunt? Anything you think that might be fun? Because if you like to hunt.
I mean, most of my food
gear.
comes in a package. So I don't know much about that. What kind of animals are good to hunt?
Fast and smart.
Haven't they seen anything that looks smart? And I can definitely outpace anything on this planet so far.
If you see anything cool now, let me know.
Okay.
Just will get killed, right?
What?
She just doesn't want him to get killed.
I just want him to know that we can't provide much help.
I can't run as fast as you can ride.
So yeah. So he's like, okay, cool. And you see him immediately like pulling out his
Right at your wrist. Boo-boo.
Right. He's like, yeah, no worries. I'm gonna get into some test runs while there's still some daylight.
You don't have any interest. Let me put it that way.
All right, yeah, so that's that. Go ahead and give me at this point you've done the trip enough times. I'll just say average survival check to get Havoc up the and you can use Havoc's survival rating, by the way.
Where do I find his? See, I hate that I have to reorganize this PDF. That his page is like all the way down.
You can always go to, I think he might be listening to it quick.
I have it on the same PDF as mine.
I guess his survival skill isn't really listed here. So never mind. Use your survival.
Coordination.
Yeah, never mind. Use your survival.
Okay.
Yeah, because survival is. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Survival is your ability.
Right.
Yeah. Like he knows where you guys are going.
Did I put this out of one right?
Right. You know, are you gonna shuck when you should chuck, or are you gonna shuck when you should jive?
You said average, easy.
Average. You're still riding a giant cat up a mountain. All right.
Easy peasy, man.
You get up there. No problem. Honestly, like you're coming back. You get back about the same time that Keltar gets back.
Okay. And I'm a little drunk with me.
Yeah, on the database.
Aloha.
And then it's a couple hours before dusk. So you guys have a little bit of time to do stuff. But yeah, not much.
I want to go, so I'm going to explain to Keltar, like, while we're outside, kind of like out of earshot. You know, like, goes like my hellos, welcome back, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to explain to him about, like, I guess, like, again, like the crates, and like, here's the symbol that were on the crates, and I kind of want to go, like, I have a plan to see if Livingston knows what they mean.
Okay.
To get the information out of them.
Okay.
But we can't let them know I have, yeah. But I show them, like, this is what the crate was labeled with. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go see if I can't figure out what it...
Okay.
Are you saying you're going to try to decipher the language?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look and see if I can find up to it on, like, the walls and be like, oh, what does this line of shit mean? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And with the way he explains stuff, like that mind rape scene in Silicon Valley where he's like, well, if it just works like this, blah, 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 blah. and they had to get stopped in the meeting. He goes and explains their whole algorithm to people he doesn't think understand it because he has to show them.
Oh, okay.
And the end of stealing.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that.
So that's essentially what I'm going to do.
Okay. Interesting.
I like that idea.
Thanks, man.
Okay. Now that you're actually, give me a perception check, Liz.
Let me get back in the right.
Actually, both of you give me a perception check. Make it an average perception check. Nice. No success, but a triumph.
Yes.
So 1 failure, 1 triumph, 3 advantage.
1 failure, 1 triumph, 3 advantage.
Yeah.
We are all seeing, all perceiving.
You guys are gonna learn a bunch of shit, just not what you were actually supposed to learn. So you specifically, Keltar, you felt pretty comfortable with the situation out in the woods. You know, you're like, yeah, this is the woods. You know, I'm liking this. You know, like this is what it is. I'm feeling secure. You get back to this box canyon, and like you just feel kind of like, man, these walls are really high. There's one way for us to get out. Like you're almost like your PTSD is kicking in a little. You're just like, man, like if anything got up above us, we would be so fucked. You know, like just like like man, I'm not jiving here. You know, like this is like this is a weird location, and I just don't really like it that much.
It's not comfortable.
Yeah, like your combat sense is
tingling.
Yeah, it's just not pleasant, you know. Hello, Duncan the Scavenger. Do you smell Doritos of some kind? You do.
He likes Doritos, huh?
No, he won't even eat them. But he knows that I have food, even though and he'll act like he wants it, but if you offer him one, he won't even eat it. Watch.
Oh.
Maybe.
Oh, wow.
Wow, he did. That's weird. Usually he doesn't like the Cool Ranch. He does the same thing with raspberries. He thinks he likes raspberries, but if you get to him, he just like leaves it on the ground somewhere.
And then you step on it?
Yep, that's exactly what happens.
Wash down the hallway like Adrian.
What?
Wash down the hallway like
Inez, your role. It just seems so dark and lifeless around here. You know, like admittedly, you're in a deep box canyon, so the second you go through the woods and cut in there, like the sun only shines down here for a couple hours a day. It's getting towards the evening anyway.
I don't know. It just does, and like what I'm looking at now, we're like, when you say lifeless, like you mean like the whole planet? Like I've noticed, like there's no.
I mean, the area just kind of like, you know, the trees are sparser around this part, you know, and like not dramatically so, but like as you got further away from the temple, you know, when you were scouting for around other areas, even at this same elevation, there was more trees elsewhere. You know what I mean? And like aside from those weird bird things, I mean, you guys really haven't seen much animal life. You know?
That's a little suspect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For a planet that has no other like societal, you think there should be abounding with.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are pretty high up in the mountains, so that's
Oh,
something to keep in mind.
But then the area is different, right?
Is it metagaming to think that maybe we should ask Jess about what he saw on his ride when he gets back and see if he saw any wildlife?
No, Liz literally asked him this, or Nez asked him the same before he took off. Have you seen
Oh.
anything?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think he really been looking at it.
But yeah, you could easily like jump on the comm and be like, "Hey, keep your eye out for life."
But yeah, I told him to see if there's anything worth finding out there.
Because it sounds to me like we've got one of those dead planets, but it didn't kill everything. We're like, there's something wrong here that killed life, but it didn't kill everything.
You're not sure.
But that's kind of a sci-fi cliche, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading into it.
Well,
Maybe, but maybe cliches are cliches for interesting story hooks, or maybe I'm just throwing you guys red herrings. Who knows?
That's very possible. Hey, I like red herrings.
I do.
I'm not really a big fan of herring.
I tried pickle herring for the first time, and it was okay. It's sweet, actually.
I'm a little picky about fish. I'll admit that. I mean, it comes from being raised on Alaskan salmon, so.
Yeah.
It's like I grew up on a cattle farm, and we had premium beef all the time. So like, I'm a little picky about my hamburgers. It's like, yeah, I bet you are.
You don't even know.
Right.
I know somebody here who doesn't like salmon, and I said, you haven't had salmon then. Yeah. If you don't like salmon, you haven't had salmon.
Right.
You've had Atlantic salmon, and everybody who knows salmon knows that Atlantic salmon sucks.
It's garbage. So, well, we can just say that you guys did not meet up and compare notes privately before.
Oh, and I also talked about that woman he's with. Like, I don't think it's his wife.
Oh.
I understand what you were telling me. Like,
You
she
think-
doesn't have anything.
You think
You didn't
she's like an assistant?
And I'm intentionally being vague because you didn't roll that one.
Well, I know, but like, I didn't see like any personal effects of hers, or
Yeah,
like
you didn't
nothing that would make it seem like they were.
No. Like, I mean, you don't see any reason to believe that she's not his wife.
Okay.
She's in some of the dig site photos that he's in. She's not in some of them. It's hard to tell, what the timeline on those were. But you just didn't see, like, most of his stuff, like, most of the stuff in there very much looked like his stuff. Or, like, dig site related stuff. You didn't see anything that screams, like, another person also uses this room. You know what I mean?
Have you been?
Like, you know. Yeah, he's right here. He's right here. He's trying to get some Doritos.
Explain that. I was like, but let's not. I mean, like, let's not read into everything. But I told him my plan.
Okay. I like that plan. I think that's a good idea. I'm going to continue with my plan of I'm going to, like, do something similar, but I'm going to, like, walk up to his gear and be like, well, it's this thing. Curious, like, I can't see it in front of me, so I can't really role play much more than that, other than, like, what would I think of as, like, archaeological gear? Like, why is this boxy thing? Like, what is this book about? Like, that sort of stuff.
Right. Like, go in, like, 3-year-old mode. Kind of distract him. And I'm going to go. So, I am going to go get a flashlight and just be like, I'm going to go exploring these beautiful, I'm going to go look at these beautiful hieroglyphs
Okay.
and stuff and just their wonderful artwork.
All right.
And then nonchalantly pick up like walk by and like pick up a flashlight and be like, I gotta check some artwork out.
He's gonna go. Please don't touch anything more. Much of this stuff is quite old, and if you see anything that doesn't look like it's made out of stone, please don't touch it without me seeing it first. You would be amazed at the treasures and information that has been lost to clumsiness over the years.
Walker's gonna be like, I promise. And do like that kid, like, I'm not touching anything. My word. And then walk off.
And then I'll say, hey, what's this thing? And I'll like point at the gear that's like right in front of me on a table or whatever.
He goes, well, this is probably some of the more important equipment that we'll use in authenticating. This is specifically used in dating artifacts and objects, which is surprisingly hard, especially when you don't want to destroy them. You know, I mean, there's a lot of techniques that can result in very precise dating if you don't mind leaving nothing behind. But dating something precisely without damaging it or altering it in any way is much more difficult. Go ahead and roll a perception check. 1 purple or 1 red, 2 purple. He also, like, in a very large crate that they managed to, like, it's like long and large, and they managed to like barely slide it in through the door. And he says, these over here, though, these will probably interest you a great deal. Ground penetrating sensors. It'll give us a map of the entire surviving complex, which would be great use in locating. I'm hoping that once we see it, we can locate the altar room, as it were, which would be a great benefit. You know, much speed up our time to locate and appropriately identify the god this temple is to.
Very interesting. That reminds me of the in Jurassic Park when they're using that one tool to look at the bones under the rock. Anyway, 1 success, 2 advantage, 1 despair.
1 success, 2 advantage, 1 despair.
What was the roll?
Perception. Yeah, this sounds super legit. Like, yeah, I mean, like, all of that checks out. You're even sort of familiar with some of the equipment, like ground penetrating radar stuff. Like, you know, it's very clearly a sensor emitter of some kind. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, there's a readout. You know, just looking from like the stuff, it looks like it can sort it, like it can project like a 3D model. Like, it looks very, very, very legit. You don't like, he kind of goes into some of the details on this one hits it, like this beam hits the object with a light, and the way it reflects, and you're like, okay, yeah, it tells you how it is. I got it. Just stop talking. I don't understand these words. It's all mumbo jumbo, but yeah, man, this stuff seems super on the up and up. And like right, like as you're like kind of like wrapping that up, his wife kind of comes over and Henry, I'm going to see what we can do about repairing the mechanism for the doors. Sorry, I'm using the exact same voice for both of them.
That's okay.
I'm just trying more voices though, so cut me some slack. Henry, I want to see about repairing these doors.
Liz.
It would be so much better if we could get them further open and then closed again.
You need to watch Downton Abbey on the corner real bad, like bend it real hard.
Yeah.
You're gonna pick up on the British upper class accent, Josh.
I'm not really going for British though.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I would feel much better if we could get more of the equipment inside. I don't trust the weather. And like, she seems pretty competent. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she seems knows what she's doing.
Well, I'll offer her a hand, I guess.
I would love some assistance, my good man. And she kind of like brings one of like the big stand lights over. It's like, you can see here where this mechanism was clearly made out of wood or something. You can see that the byproducts of it, and like she kind of like, it's like, wow, you're applying archaeology to a mechanical situation, and so like you kind of understand what she's saying, but then some of it's just like I don't know about the segregation and like what needs fixed, lady? Like,
I'm just a hired gun. Just tell me where to loose my fire. I'm a just tell me where you need help and I'll help.
Okay, go ahead and give me a. What will we do? Give me a hard mechanics check. But upgraded one. So 1 red die, 2 purple die, and I'm going to give you 2 setback die and 1 blue die because she's assisting.
Oh my gosh! There's no
1
way.
red, 2 purple, 2 black, and a blue.
That dice pool is not going to work out.
Oh my gosh! I thought your mechanical skill.
No, I have 2 green.
You are almost useless. That's not true.
A whole bunch canceled out. Oh wait.
You have the average human mechanical ability.
Yeah.
How does that make you
feel? 2 advantage, 1 failure.
2 advantage, 1 failure. So like, you guys like managed to grab some like random bits of this and that and the other, and like, you know, they have a lot of sturdy chunks of metal. You know, it looks like they're used to brace things up, and like there's even like a bag labeled cave-in kit, you know, so that like and it appears to be like used to provide like protection against the cave-in.
Okay.
You guys managed to like take some parts from this, that, and the other, and you make like some progress on like replacing like what look like key components to the door, but like these doors are massive, and like most of the components need to be like you're trying to move giant stone cogs and things, and like stone gears, and so like you get some, you definitely like make some progress, but you're by no means finished.
Okay. I'd say that's pretty fair.
And after she goes, well, that just might have to do for now. What I would like some assistance. Perhaps we could get that young man who flies the ship up here to give us a hand. I don't like leaving that much equipment out there. A lot of our money is tied up in our equipment, and I don't like leaving it unprotected from the elements out there.
That's understandable. It looks like you've got a lot of equipment.
You would be surprised how much equipment we need for jobs like this.
That's interesting. Because your husband was talking about dating, and then also about language. What else do you do?
Expert on the subject. I've been his research assistant since we were in grad school together, and I mean, there's quite a bit. We also want to catalog everything. There's equipment for making reproductions of artifacts, so we can examine them and see how they interact with other artifacts. quite interesting work.
It sounds like it.
Go ahead and give me a 2 purple, 2 red perception check.
Oh boy. Oh. All right. So far, so good. Not good. How do I even count this up? This is so... One failure, 4 disadvantage, 1 triumph.
Say that again.
1 failure, 4 disadvantage, 1 triumph.
Okay. Everything she says makes perfect sense. So everything she says makes perfect sense, but upon hearing that, your brain kind of hits on something. You're like, oh, wait a minute. Like, it occurs to you that if you guys have equipment for reproducing artifacts and like making molds and stuff, could you guys use some of that equipment to like make the parts you need to fix the door? That just kind of dawns on you that like she's like describing, you're like, man, like some of those tools could probably be used to like either cut pieces out of stone that we need or cut pieces out of wood to replace the original ones, or even just like straight up fabricate some of the stuff that we might need to fix this.
Oh, okay. So I have a sudden stroke of genius that makes no sense for my character. Awesome.
But it also seems kind of weird that like she didn't think of that. Like you just found out about this equipment.
Yeah, that is strange that she wouldn't think about that. Did it possibly occur? I'm sure it did. And you gave this thought because I'm not a mechanic, but maybe we could fabricate some parts for the door with those tools. I don't know. I'm just a hired hand. I don't really know what I'm talking about.
And she goes, oh, that's a good thought. Perhaps some of the smaller pieces we could, but I mean, these doors are quite heavy, and the mechanics involved, I mean, very intricate. I don't even know if we would know how to reproduce them. I'm just trying to bootstrap it into opening and closing. But perhaps that's an idea. Well, I'm going to think on this and look at some of our equipment we can do.
I'm also wondering if the doors just open like normal doors, maybe we could just hook up the 2 speeders, because we got 2 speeders, right? And some rope.
Yeah, 2.
You got a couple of bikes.
Say again?
You got a couple of swoop bikes, yeah.
Yeah, and give it a good old tractor pull.
Give me a hard mechanics check. And take 2 blue die. Because you've been puzzling away at this problem for a couple of hours.
So far, so good. I have to roll it twice, or roll 2 separate times because it's not big enough for all the dice.
Thank you.
Sweet, we got 1 success, 1 advantage out of that.
You're thinking about it and you're puzzling it through, and you're pretty sure that if you can like get some of like the more critical pieces manufactured with her, like you could probably get one or 2 of the speeder bikes through the door enough to like use it on the inside of the temple. And like speeder bikes don't have a ton of towing capacity,
right?
their thing, but like you think you're pretty sure that like between being able to manufacture some parts and the speeder bikes, you could get these doors to at least be able to like open and close with like by running the speeders, like you said, like a tractor pull the doors closed, tractor pull the doors open. Like, it's all about multiplying your force at this point. Mm-hmm. And the doors have already set up for that. So as long as if you could manufacture some parts, you could probably get her done.
Oh, very cool. Well, I guess we would set about that because I don't really know what else I'd do. That gives Inaz plenty of time to be searching, right?
That's what I've been looking at. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we'll say you guys set out to do that, and I won't make you roll for that just yet. But Inez.
Yes.
Why don't we jump over to what you're doing? What are you doing?
I've been scouring, because wasn't there writing all over the walls? One place we fell down into.
There's literally writing all over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've just been kind of like looking at my little cards, little pictures, and then like trying to find them on the wall. So like when I come to one, I'll go up to them and be like, just curious, like, what do you think this says? Like this little line, and I should like get it. 4 or 5 hieroglyphs is gonna have like that one.
Okay, so go ahead and give me a average perception check. So some of the symbols don't come up at all. Like you don't see any of them.
Okay.
Or you don't see them anywhere. But like a couple, like 1 or 2 of this, like let's say there's maybe 10 symbols recorded. 8 of them you can't see at all. But like 2 of them you see pretty common. Like they're frequent. And yeah, it's pretty easy to pull to like, hey, like there. And
so then they go and ask my way and be like, what does like this one mean? And like this one,
Give me a what did I say? 2 red, 2 purple deception check.
Okay.
Is that what I made you roll, Dan? When you
say again?
What was that? What I made you roll when you tried to light? Was 2 purple, 2 red?
Yeah.
Or was it purple, 1 red?
Wait. When first acquired,
that's what I did.
Charm, courage, deception, or negotiation. When making checks with that skill, spend. Oh, never mind. That's only after I roll. The smooth talker.
Smooth talker?
Okay. But you have to pick one skill, right?
Yeah.
Which one did you pick?
No, I don't remember now. I think it was deception.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so roll just deception.
Yeah, so roll your deception.
You said 2 purple, 2 red.
2 purple, 2 red.
Well, fuck everybody.
He kind of sets down what he's doing and kind of comes over like, fucking tourists,
Again, that's
like I do have a lot of work to do. I hired you to help me, not in the way. He kind of mumbles a little bit, but he says, that's an interesting section to pick out. What what drew you to this section?
I just saw these two symbols keep popping up, and I was at this part of the wall.
Yes. So those symbols, they're closely tied to the people's beliefs of their magic, and to them, their magic comes from their gods. And that's one of the reasons why they study under the different gods so hard, is to learn the use of their magic. And there's a great many of them that claimed some use of magic. And I honestly, primitive people, can't put too much stock by it. I mean, my personal belief is that some of it was probably basic medicine that they claimed to be magic or some such. But those two symbols are closely tied to their magic. Give me a moment. And he kind of like is looking at the wall, and he's kind of reading, and then kind of goes over to another panel like above it, another panel below. This appears to be telling a story of a battle where one of the acolytes used powerful magic to fight off a strong enemy. It's very much fables and the like. Stories that reinforce ethics and morals is my determination is on a lot of this. Of course, the heroes triumph through the strength of their gods and the such, and the faithful are rewarded, and the guilty are the treacherous are punished and cast out.
Very interesting indeed.
Go ahead and roll a one red, 3 purple perception check.
Excuse me. No. He's like, that hand quit hurting me. You said 3 purple?
Yes. 1 red, 3 purple.
1 failure, 2 disadvantage.
That all checks out. You're like, yep, stupid people thinking stupid shit. Yeah, that tracks.
God.
Right.
Walk off.
Magic losers.
Such primitive people.
He kind of like mutters. He kind of like mutters to himself, like, like, what could some people know about ancients? And like, there's kind of like a little, like, not quite shit talking, but a little like, well, I indulged the child. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
I call him that.
what? You catch that?
Oh, dick. That's what a dick sounds like. I want to be an asshole too.
All right, so let's I go ahead and Dan, give me a. Why don't you give me a hard mechanics check, but with like 3 blue die?
Oh wow, how generous. Oh. That. All right, it's taking me a moment. Okay, so we got 2 advantage, 1 success.
Okay. 2 advantage, 1 success. All right. You guys, you and the wife end up working, well past dark. You did have to go down and back to the ship and, get the speeder bikes and bring them back up and everything and all that jazz. But like it takes you, like I said, the better part of the evening. But you guys do manage to get the doors to open and close. It just 3 people to do it.
Oh, wow. Well, that was really hard. But now we got them open. Let's get your gear in here, huh?
Livingston, of course, ecstatic that you guys got the doors working.
Hey, it's
sort
of.
Quite excited. Excellent. We can bring all of the equipment in. And he's even kind of like the hallways aren't humongous, they're 20 feet across, not counting the space on the end for the little flows of burning oil. Which just due to the obstructions, they only go up to the first couple of the first little cutout alcoves on either side. Those little bonfire rooms you guys found. So it doesn't go very far in, but that's as much light as you guys naturally have from the fuel source. Fortunately, you guys got panel lights and stuff set up now, so it's not really necessary to have that stuff burning. But he's kind of filling up the hallway at this point with all of this equipment. It's pushing it further down, and he even was kind of setting up some of it in one of the burn rooms, one of the little bonfire rooms, or lecture rooms, or whatever you want to call those circular rooms.
The saunas.
The what?
The saunas.
Sure, the saunas.
That's definitely what they are.
But yeah.
All right. Well, we got your gear in now. Do we? Guess we shut the doors. Guess it's getting late. Might be a good idea.
You guys want to shut the doors?
Well, I was kind of asking Livingston, but now I'm not sure.
Let's do it. How do I burn good record?
Livingston isn't particularly. We don't have to shut them all the way, but we can. Are you sure you'll be able to get them back open? I'm not sure if I'm up for a climb up that rope to get out.
Good point. Maybe let's instead barricade the door instead. Barricade the opening.
Okay, yeah, between the empty packing crates and the speeder truck that you can now, or the speeder truck that you guys can now mostly get in, you know what I mean? You can get a good chunk of it in. You guys could close the doors a little bit, and close them and then stack crates up and stuff to make a decent barricade. Anything that could fly, the one of the birds could probably get in if really want, you know what I mean? If it was really motivated, but there's no reason for anything else to bother. And you guys could, remove the barricade if you so desired.
That sounds good.
Okay.
It's. Can you remind me what time of day it is roughly?
It's quite late. It's probably 9-10 o'clock at this point.
Okay, so I think it might be a good idea to either comlink Jess or the ship, whichever we're able to do.
Whichever one you choose to comlink, Jess picks up.
Okay. So it's getting late, and we were able to get all the gear inside of here. We're gonna spend the night up here. How was your speeder trip? Did you see anything interesting?
Like initially he just was like, "Well, it's pretty good." You know, rattles off a bunch of technical information, like well, I think I'm gonna need to tune to this and to that. Heat shielding, it's it got a little hot,
boy.
right? Like and then it kind of like takes things like, I didn't see a ton of stuff. I mean, this bike's pretty loud. scares off a lot, scares off a lot of wildlife. But I mean, I saw, as I got further out into the field, I definitely saw some of those kind of tall, skinny, four-legged looking things that were they move pretty quick.
Oh, okay.
Is that after this?
I don't know. Does she? Did y'all call together?
But I was at this point, there's no reason. Like, I just wasn't sure if we were all right next to each other.
I mean, you very well could be. I see no reason why.
I think, like, my interest. Like, I probably wasn't giving two shits, and then like, wait. So I'm gonna like move. You're like, what was that? That kind of deal.
Yeah. Tall, long legs, pretty skinny looking creatures. Small little heads. I mean, their bodies were probably maybe a little shorter than me, but they were all legs and they moved pretty quick. I mean, no competition for my speeder, of course. But pretty quick for a stupid plains creature or stupid non-living, no machines critter.
Are they like deer or something? Is that what he's kind of describing?
Like antelope.
Yeah, like really tall, long-legged, skinny antelope. Like
okay.
There's the ones that jump through there.
I would even say maybe like really skinny moose. Like if you had like moose,
fucking awkward looking.
Yeah, like a moose legs on like an elk body.
Like maybe a caribou with an identity crisis.
Yeah, I would say like moose leg, like an elk or a caribou with like legs as long as a moose. If that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of cool. Did you make that up?
I did make it up, just not on the spot.
All right. I could see that being an animal. I mean, long legs, they'd be able to escape predators faster and reach higher food. So
that's why moose have such long legs, to get through snow and like deep marshes. Although most people don't know this, moose hold their breath and go swimming, and they dive. They will dive to get to aquatic grasses.
I knew they dove, but I didn't know like how
I've seen
far.
It's like how horses will technically swim or can swim. They don't like do it naturally.
Where they keep their head out.
They will swim.
Yeah, moose do that. They'll also dive completely under the water to aquatic.
That's incredible that they can swim when their legs are just not designed for that.
Yeah, they're pretty cool creatures, and they taste so good.
Never tried moose. I gotta try it sometime.
I love it. If I go back to Alaska and do some hunting and I get hook you up,
that would be awesome.
I love moose.
So I guess what we've gleaned from Jez is this is not a dead planet like I was thinking.
No.
And there is wildlife here that we could hunt.
Yep.
But he hasn't seen any predatory wildlife.
No. The only wildlife predatory at this point is the birds. And even that is a little suspect because you were like right at their nest.
Right. They could have just been defended.
Territorial.
I mean, they can fuck you up if there's enough of them. Yeah. But as far as like, are they going to chase you around and try to like kill you? You have no idea.
Oh. What did you say those? There was 2 big statues in the back that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. And like through further exploration, you do see just a lot of like statues. And like they are of some basic bipedal entity, vaguely human shape, wearing some sort of like what is clearly some sort of armor clothing, and they're wielding various large weapons.
Okay.
Like one of them is like some sort of sword. You see like some sort of spear or pike, hammer, just various different weapons.
Cool.
I want to go through and see if it looked like anybody like. Is it just a temple or like people have?
So from what you have seen, from what you guys have explored of the temple so far, you just see it's a large hallway with these little like alcoves where like there's places for large fires. So like clearly it's designed for a lot of people to share.
Okay.
But you haven't even gone to the back of this room, so you don't know.
I think there's something weird with the life.
Say again?
I think there's something weird with the wife.
Yeah, I think so too, because she said that they were working together in grad school. And she's just an assistant, but see, it seems a little weird to me that she would be only an assistant if they were both together in grad school at the same time. Like, wouldn't they have the same education level?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like if she was undergrad.
Why don't you roll knowledge education to find out if you know anything about how higher education works?
That's a good point. I wasn't.
We ain't fancy folks.
Right, both of you are from deep outer rim. I mean, like your planet has its own institution,
right? Like we have everybody else,
right? But like you wouldn't necessarily, the Alderaan University works,
right?
Well, assuming that was average,
it was not. It was going to be hard.
Yeah, let me roll one more. It didn't change anything. 1 failure, 1 advantage.
It seems kind of weird that they would be working together, but like you don't have any basis, it's just like it's kind of weird that you guys have both been doing it so long, kind of distant, but like you also are aware, like to draw an analogy to you're also aware that like sometimes really experienced warriors will like apprentice under a master to like learn, you know what I mean? Like that's not uncommon. Or
right.
like someone's got to be the lead, someone's got to be squad leader. It doesn't necessarily like, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily speak to the inabilities of the other group if just because one person's a squad leader doesn't make everybody else incompetent or even less good at their jobs. That might just be how this organization breaks down. So, like, it seems maybe a little funky, but like, like maybe your feminist bone is being tickled a little bit, and you're like, well, that's some bullshit. But like outside of that, it doesn't like going, oh fuck, man, who knows?
Okay.
Like you can like understand why that might be a thing.
Okay, that makes sense. I think that's satisfying to me because I was just thinking like if they're on the same level, if they're both at school at the same time, wouldn't they be the same knowledge level? And that was kind of what I was going for.
And you don't really have an ability to determine.
That's fine.
Without further questioning. If you want to, you could ask questions about like, what did you study? Like, what's your field of expertise? Like if through social encounters, that's absolutely information you could attempt to acquire, but just based off of what it just maybe sounds a little off, but like you have no real basis for that.
Can I try getting the wife alone and asking her the same question I asked Livingston? Things
about what things?
About those the pictograms or the hieroglyphs or whatever.
Absolutely. Did Duncan fart up in here?
It wasn't me. I was gonna assume it was
Duncan fart.
brutal. Yes.
Duncan cut the cheese.
Yeah. Was it you or was it Dan? Was it you or Dylan that he was just gassing out?
Oh,
that
he
one
farted
day?
on Dylan 3 times.
It was like that. It was bad. Yeah. I'm gonna crack it open, even though it's actually pretty gnarly. Liz, the fact that you didn't say nothing is impressive.
I mean, you farted before. I just assumed, like, I'm not like in 5th grade. I'm not gonna be like, oh!
Is it that bad?
It happens. I know I've put on some gnarly farts that would be real upset if someone just called me out in front of me. Like, okay.
Okay, so everyone's kind of doing their own thing, he's working on, he's like going over some stuff and some manuals and
so he's preoccupied.
He's pretty, and like the wife is kind of doing similar, her own thing. She's checking some stuff and this, that, and the other, and like going over some of the equipment, and she's got a data pad. It's like, yes, okay, but like almost like clerical type kind of,
Mm-hmm.
So it's not particularly hard to like get her alone with, like, get her alone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was just gonna ask her the same thing, like separate of Livingston.
The about specific like ruins.
Right, like, oh, what is this?
Okay. I need 2 checks from you.
Okay.
I need a deception check to play dumb. And that's going to be.
Do I have to play them, or can I be really dumb?
Well,
I'm playing.
I know what you theoretically.
Like, Carl Gallagher all up in this bitch.
It's going to be 2 purple, 2 red. Deceive life. We will call Mary because you guys never had bothered to ask her name.
That's it. What? Damn. 2 failure, 2 advantage.
You're missing your 2 reds. Those are supposed to be reds, not blacks. Would you like to re-roll?
Yes. Sorry.
I'm really hoping for critical failures.
Don't speak that juju over me. Also, Corinne told me today that I was going to have to stop being so dramatic. It's like, 1, watch your mouth. 2, like, sometimes I can get, like, dramatic. I spill coffee on my shirt. And I was like, God damn it!
Here, I'll
It
take
feels
this
like,
and
2, like,
put
just
this
the
one.
overall dramaticism
Great. Okay. So,
might rub the kids, like, the wrong way sometimes. Like, you might need to tone back to your... or, like, I'll stub my toe and be like, ah!
Might be funny. I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
See, like if you get a negative reaction.
Woo!
Liz
Says,
Liz just got hired. No, you rolled it wrong again.
Guys! Damn it. Okay, I'm sorry.
2 purple, 2 red.
I tuned out for a second. What's happening?
Liz doesn't know how to use the dice roller, apparently, all of a sudden.
I don't know how to, like, type on a
Oh.
keyboard. No!
Oh no!
Speak.
Oh, failure and despair.
Um.
You're gonna be crying.
Which way?
So,
Where?
also, Liz has recently gotten hired at the place that I work.
Oh,
She's gonna get to wrestle kids for a living, too. But she was talking about like being super dramatic. Like, I honestly, like, if you're doing it and you like are freaking people out or getting like a weird reaction, that's fine. But like, I can be dramatic as hell all the time.
He also
Like-
said like sarcasm doesn't always work. Like some of these kids don't take well to sarcasm.
That's
And
true.
I definitely made a note of that. I was
Yeah,
like,
until you
yeah.
develop.
Okay, my charisma's going from an 8 to a 9.
When I'm being sarcastic, they know. They're used to it.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like when
Well,
I
you
say
know,
like,
some stuff I just say that just comes out.
so if you gotta be sarcastic, which they'll tell you in training, not. But if you are gonna be sarcastic, just go big. Like you know what I mean? So like I'll say like, if you do that one more time, I'm putting you on restriction for years. Like, you know what I
Because
mean?
it's
Like,
obvious.
yeah, like it's they're not legally allowed to be there for 10 years.
Right.
You know, maybe the 9-year-old is the only one who could potentially be there for 10 years. So, and I'm certainly not going to be there for 10 years. So, like, it's clear that that's not real. But like, I would establish the relationship before you get too sarcastic. Good luck.
I think sarcasm is how I establish relationships.
This will be interesting, Liz. This will be.
I'm gonna
interesting.
take it out on you so bad.
You can try it. Okay. So with that failure and despair, she just like looks at you really funny and kind of looks like, why?
I'm fucking curious.
Okay.
I have to sit here and watch y'all do archaeological shit all day when there's nothing to shoot at.
Yeah, she's not
Don't
buying it
be
at all.
sassy with me.
She's not buying it like at all, but like she's not. But she'll give you an explanation. But at first, I want you to roll a 2 purple, 2 red perception check.
Defense bundle. It's under mission bundles.
Okay.
I'm not a fighter.
So she looks at it and kind of gives you, well, to be honest. What did I say his first name was? Richard. Henry. Yes, sorry. Well, to be honest, languages is Henry's specialty. You know, he speaks about 7 different languages fluently. My understanding is that these symbols here are closely tied to their mysticism of some kind. Henry's explained it to me. Somehow they can pass it. I don't get it. The gods give it to them, they give it to other people. It doesn't make sense. It's all a lot of hand movements and
Nah, that sounds like some D&D shit, and I'll walk off.
yeah. And like you can tell that like you're much like she knew that you were not on the up and up for that conversation, you knew that she was not on the up and up for that conversation. Like you have like it pretty much matched what Henry
Okay, that's what I was
said,
trying to like catch up.
but
yeah.
like you could tell that like she was not on the up and up with all. Like whether it was she was bullshitting you about what it means or bullshitting you about her ability and knowledge of the topic, but like something like she was full of shit on something. And you're not really clear what, which is like that gut feeling of like, nope, I know when I'm getting hustled because I've done it a lot to other
right,
people.
like you can't bullshit.
Right, exactly. Like I know bullshit when I hear it. And some of that was some bullshit. So yeah.
All right, let's get to it, sir.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Yep. So that's where you guys are at. You want to bed down in the dark, spooky temple?
Yeah, I love sleeping in a dark, spooky temple.
All right. Everybody roll initiative. I'm just joking.
I knew it. Should always sleep with one eye open and a blaster in my hand.
You want to set up watches?
Normally I'd say yes, but right now I don't know if that's necessary. I guess there's no downside really. So why not?
All of you are good on. You don't have any strain or hit points to recover, right?
I have 3 wound to recover, and 5 strain to recover.
Okay, then yeah, if you guys want to take watch, go ahead and take watch. Like, there's only 2 of you. I mean, if you want to, unless you want to try to Henry and Mary to take watch.
I'll just take the first one.
I think next time we should just get Pettigrew up here to take watch all the time. He doesn't need sleep.
He does need to be recharged, though.
Oh, we can recharge him during the day then.
You can, yeah. I mean, like, as long as you guys have fusion lanterns, which you certainly have, like, or at least Livingston does.
Remind me, is that the thing that Luke used to charge up R2 on Dagobah?
Yeah, they're a weird little thing, and I'm surprised they're not used. Like, I think that it's one of those things that we had to invent it because they use it as a prop in the movie, and we need to explain it in some fashion. It's basically a miniature fusion power.
Cool.
That, like, theoretically has limitless energy and also is a lantern.
You know what that reminds me of?
What I do with my power plants is turn them into lanterns.
Did you ever see Stargate Atlantis show?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the ZPM?
Yes.
And so they made they discovered a ZPM that was in the form of like some weird alien generator, and they opened it up, and that's when that weird black cloud creature came out and was infesting Atlantis. That's what I think of when you say fusion reactor. That's kind of cool. Or fusion lantern.
I mean, it's like it's not super powerful. You can charge a droid off of it, like on like trickle charge sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you could the droid will have to rest probably longer than you do, but like you could maintain a full charge, or you could probably like recharge a couple of blaster power packs, like if that makes sense. But like like it's not like they're a theoretically infinite power source. Like they're not going to run out of power, but you couldn't power a weapon with it. You know what I mean? Or like a turret or anything, or at least not without like daisy chaining a shitload of them together. And I don't even know if that's canon or not that you can daisy chain them.
I don't see why not. I mean, if it uses anything similar to Earth electricity, then you could put it in a not parallel circuit. What do they call it? Series, and increase the voltage.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, like I mean, let's just assume that you could. You'd need 10 of them to produce like an anti-vehicle weapon shot, and then you'd have to wait 5 or 10 minutes for it to recharge. Like it's not.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean these things are like think of them as like a car battery that never runs out that also produces light. But yeah. So like you very well could throw Pettigrew on a charger if you brought him up here. But that would mean that anytime Jess left the ship would be unguarded. Just, keep that in mind. That's not like foreshadowing or anything, just letting you know be the situation.
I'm really just like, the Naz is just really hoping they'll find like a Colonel creature that she can set her sights on. Have something to daydream about while she's. And has bitches lied to her.
So would you say that it's a fair assumption that Annette's like starting to get a little bored with the whole like, old ass rocks, who gives a fuck, let's go kill something?
Well, I mean, while they're sleeping and she can't pick their minds about why they're lying.
Okay.
Which gives her plenty of intrigue.
Okay. Then heads up, you very well could go on a little hunting scouting expedition of your own, it's a perfectly viable plan. So it took you guys a couple of days to get in, to get set up, and you kind of get the impression that starting tomorrow there's still a little bit to do, but for the most part, the exploration will start in earnest in the morning. And he's indicated he would like at least one of you to be on hand. Let's take a type 5. I'm going to grab some.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Perfect.
That did sound fun.
Was interesting to about half the party. The other half wanted to go rescue the princess, and it sounded like there was an agreement there. So
it was bad because I was really, really hungry. I was walking out the car, and I was like, okay, he's probably a little.
and you
do it.
by gate, but you didn't use a Stargate galactic version of the Astro Gate.
But I was talking to Exelandos.
Yes.
Wait, Star Wars has big gate things?
Yes and no. If you want, you could do a history check, but you're not quite in yet. So I guess I would have to have Lonnie do the history check if you wanted to hear the story behind that. I'd be more than happy to tell you.
Oh, sure. Let me check my history. Okay, that's a +3. So I roll a d20 and +3.
Correct.
All right, d20. All right, that's a 10.
Okay. All right. So we'll say that you gleaned this information from somebody when you were on the Wandering Pearl. There have been reports that there was a ship in. Let me get it up here. There was an abandoned gate upon an ancient ship floating within the Rishi Maze.
It is. You want something to snack on?
Ship was somewhat.
Oh, I want to try a piece of things.
Describes it.
What?
I want to try a piece of these lock things.
Oh, dude.
So
How'd we get to the galaxy?
somehow a Goa'uld cargo ship made it all the way out to the Rishi Maze before it finally getting destroyed, which is pretty incredible considering how dangerous the Rishi Maze is, and how the Goa'uld had absolutely no control. He has heard rumor, and he's not sure, something about a planet called Infinity Gate that was
Well,
a
the bagel.
long time ago.
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
If you guys end up finding somebody more knowledgeable about galactic history, I will give you the full thing. But
You know what? I'm
you're from the Nemoidians.
the square, not the big round delicious loaf, square loaf of bread.
We just know things.
The Seattle.
Yeah, they skipped history class.
That doesn't go back.
That's all you
Yeah.
get for now. So,
Yeah, like the other side.
meeting the princess.
Of the
Oh, I should say they ended up getting across the dunes and finding the princess in a cave underneath an oasis in the middle of the desert, and she was kind of in the cave trying to grill a bunch of leafy plants unsuccessfully and clearly out of her element.
Yeah, why was she there?
Thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot to mention. She was basically
She was a runaway.
escaping an arranged marriage to a loser. In fact, if I will explain, the prince is called Shmojo. I was very original. He's kind of he's a one of a kind weirdo and a lazy dude. He does nothing but eat and sleep. He's the only available royalty to marry Elena, the princess. He's son of the old and dying lesser king of Enolia, which is located on the other side of the continent of the planet that Elena is from. Did I tell you what planet she is?
I don't remember.
Okay. She is from bounty for delivering her back to the city. Let's see. She's lazy and irresponsible, but she's not afraid of him. She just thinks it's going to be nothing but trouble if they got married. So you meet her as you leave the cave darkness and into the scorching heat of the desert. You finally get a clear look at the princess you're escorting. She's young, in her 20s, human, wearing a purple and green dress that looks a bit dirty from her life. Her hair is curly and blonde, and upon her head is a crown. She is fair-skinned and very beautiful, and speaks with a soft and gentle voice in the range of a soprano. And you have just convinced her that she should come back with you.
Chicken fried chicken.
There, Meg, you can decide what to do.
So, her name is Schmojo, right?
Her name's Elena.
No.
Princess is Schmo. Or sorry, the prince is Schmo. She's Elena.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Princess Elena. I need to write that down before I forget.
No worries. Let me grab a notebook for my own uses.
So, I'm not one who's much for talking to fancy people with my 9 charisma. So, I'm mostly quiet as we walk her back to the ship.
Okay. Well, bad news. Wind has picked up since you got there, and your footprints have disappeared.
Did we know what direction we were coming when we went over?
You know the general direction.
I want to determine the opposite direction so I can follow the path we took.
Okay.
Since we went about as how the crow flies.
Let's see. What skill I want you to sell to me. What skill do you think would be best in determining that? Would it be nature, possibility?
I think that my nature and perception skills would be best for this.
Okay.
Or investigation, because I know where I came from, and I know what direction I went in, so I should obviously be able to find the direction opposite of where I went.
Okay, I like that. Let's pick which you want and go for it, and I'm gonna roll the DC on that one.
Perception. I want to roll perception. Ooh. All right, that would be a.
Oh no.
A 10, but I do have the little check mark next to it.
Okay, go ahead and roll a second time then.
All right, let's try that again. Oh, that's worse.
Okay, so for whatever reason, your dice aren't showing up on screen. So when I see the roll, I'm just gonna say it out loud for the viewers.
Oh, I didn't. Am I supposed to use the virtual 3D dice?
No, you don't have to. I'm just doing it for the visuals. You got a 7 on that second roll and a 9 on the first one.
I got a 6 plus 4 on the first one and a 4 plus 4 on the second.
Okay, gotcha. So unfortunately, neither of those are successful. So we'll say that you have a certain degree of success. You aren't a complete failure in this because let's be honest, if you walked one way and you turned around and started walking back, you should be able to retrace your steps most of the way. So you begin your journey across the dunes back the way you came from, and you're pretty good feeling that you're going the right way. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of a description of what it's like. The dunes are many shades of brown and orange and yellow. They expand as far as you can see. You see small specks of black rock sticking out of the sand in some areas. Some of them are as tall as small transport shuttles. The hills of sand extend for miles and miles, and some reach heights of small mountains. The flatter sections of the desert have ripples and waves resembling a humongous, still, yellow ocean. Your trek is hot and dry. Your system's star beats down hard on the team as they traverse that ocean of sand. You climb and reach the top, and find another one that seems somehow taller. Very quickly get lost. Any trace of difference in the earlier portion of the
Hey Dan, sorry, just give me one.
Oh, that's all right. I
I'm
needed
doing
some time.
intermittent fasting that ends at 9 o'clock.
Oh.
So I have to make sure I get some food, or I'll just go to bed starving and be angry all day.
I understand.
Oh no.
Oh, great.
As you continue doggedly onward, you stumble into a canyon of rock, which is devoid of sand, vast in size, with tall rock walls, which appear scalable, but just barely. They are covered in jagged and sharp edges, and that canyon goes on as far as you can see.
Okay. A canyon.
That's correct.
Right. So, I have a water purifier, but if there's no water around, that won't do much. And I've now got 13 days of MREs, so if the sun's going down, the princess is probably needing to eat.
I would think so.
All right. So, I don't trust that this princess, no matter how capable or incapable she is, has the upper body strength to scale a rock wall. So I'm
No,
not going to expect her to be able to.
She's very weak in that department.
Yeah.
And might I say, she's been complaining for a while that
Isn't that little nightlight dope?
she really does not like the
I think you might be able to like position the different mushrooms, but I haven't made it yet.
herself for deciding to
No, not really.
No, okay.
You know what? She should. 'Cause
Really good, they're wrong. I can lose one.
It's not like that. It's
so
like
I tell her,
you put like
princess, we gotta set up camp or something
that.
because we need to work through the night. At least if we can't.
Wire hanger.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
What are we gonna eat though?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Ever had an MRE?
What is?
Oh.
I actually don't remember what it stands for, but you'll find out.
Meals ready to eat.
Right. Well, it's food, and as far as you can
All right,
tell,
cool.
it's probably good enough.
Why is this brown bag here? As she's like grabbing one and like doesn't understand what to do with it. Like,
All right, first of all, you gotta open the thing because that's the packaging to make sure that it lasts.
we'll say,
You do have plastic out there, right?
oh, you hear another jackal in quotation marks behind you, still
great.
distant.
Well, all right. Open it. Let's make some supper. I'm gonna have to watch out while you get some rest.
Then my computer opens.
In the entrance to the inn.
All right. So, are there any caves,
Oh shit. Hold on.
rock inlets, or anywhere we can use for cover for the night?
Are you going over there?
I was gonna use this.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Let
Shoot your boot.
me check my perception.
I have not really been using this that much, so I would add
Very nice.
that.
23.
I actually saw that one. It showed up for whatever reason.
Yeah, because I set it for
Oh,
that.
thank you.
Nice.
So, I appreciate that.
All right. As long as you guys don't mind me eating while we play.
That's all
I'm
right. I
ready.
was already eating.
I mean, I normally am, but we also don't normally. So.
Yeah. This winter or Christmas, I'm going to be in Bozeman, Montana. You ever been there?
I think I lost my wallet there when I drove to Yellowstone.
Oh, that's right. So.
I've driven through. It looks super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice place. So I'm going to be closer to you guys, but sadly not close enough. Still about
What do I passively perceive?
4 hours, I think, from Spokane.
My best friend from college and her soon to be husband. I want to come out to Montana next summer.
Like to move?
No, just a visit.
Oh.
It's a good place.
I think they're gonna. He's moving from Mississippi to.
Oh.
So.
I'm sure he'll hate that.
I know exactly what that is.
Did I tell you guys that I'm really homesick for Chini?
What?
I thought you hated Chini.
No, I like Chini.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
I liked it over there. I got really attached to it, I guess. I was surprised by how much I was missing it.
I thought you were about to say Olympia, and I was like, quit smoking crack. Like, I know you're not sad to leave Olympia.
Not sad to leave there, no. I was surprised to find that I missed any part of Washington, really.
That's fair.
Because I had been dead set for 15 years that I did not want to live in Washington.
I think it's probably just because there's really not a whole lot going on in South Dakota. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, unless you own land that you can go shoot stuff on, there's no point in living there.
Yeah, especially on the east side. So the west side of South Dakota is a lot more interesting. But I don't live there yet.
Yeah.
And I knew that when I moved out here.
Were you like born and raised in Washington?
I was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Actually, St. Paul, Minnesota. They're the twin cities. They're like one is almost. They're so similar. Then I lived there for 4 years. Then I moved to Denver, just outside of Denver, to a town called Longmont. Lived there for 4 years. Then moved to Burien, Washington. Then within a year, I moved to Federal Way. Then I lived there for about
Really, people
14 years. Then
I
lived.
feel like live in like one place their whole life. They're like, I'm getting out and I'm never coming back. And then like a few years later, they're like, nah.
I miss it.
I don't know. I definitely didn't feel like, I'm getting out and I'm never coming back to Alaska.
Yeah.
But I would also be like, it's been 2 years I've been in Washington. I would be pretty surprised if I moved back to Alaska and stayed there. Like, if I moved back to Alaska to get a really good job,
Yeah.
like for 5 or 6 years, sure, I could see that. But I would be pretty surprised if I moved there.
Mississippi tried to suck me back in 2018. I didn't let it happen.
How did that happen? You just got sick of the cold weather.
In Mississippi?
No, here.
Oh no, that's why I left when I moved here. That's why I was saying I didn't let it happen. I was living in Texas.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And then I went to Maine, and then I tried to live in Mississippi.
You went to Maine, huh?
Yeah, my best friend from college, her parents bought a house up there, just north of Portland, on the coast. It's beautiful. I almost moved there.
Wow. I gotta say, this move out here has made me more bold about trying out new places.
Yeah.
It's fun, man.
Same.
So
Lived in Alaska literally my entire life.
it would not be a problem for me to move again.
Dan, I think you would really like parts of Alaska.
Oh, I know for certain I would love it.
All right, we're going with 13.
The people, the lifestyle, and the scenery, they all appeal to me.
Yeah, like I could really see you moving to like the Kenai Peninsula somewhere. Or like
All right, I'm about to do something stupid.
maybe up north, maybe like the valley. Or like past the valley.
I'm finding that I'm pretty hardy when it comes to cold too. While
That
I'm over
would-
here.
Would be good.
So I wonder if it would work well for me. Because I also like being a little bit on the cooler side, and Alaska would provide that.
Oh yeah. One of the things I miss the most about it is
Yeah.
its perfect temperature.
I think it must be my Scandinavian blood. I do like the heat, but I don't like it as much as the cold.
The 1 kilogram.
Yeah, like
Get ready to throw it down. I'm like, okay, princess.
for the most part, I'm not a big fan of the heat. For whatever reason, like Hawaii is awesome.
Because it sits in a crosswind on the Pacific, but
Yeah.
the Pacific is also cooler, but that's why it's so calm. The Atlantic is hot, and that's what causes like hurricanes, like the storms, like the nor'easters. You get like Scotland and all that, and Maine.
Mhm.
But because the water of the Pacific is cooler, it matches the air more.
That makes sense.
So that's why they say like in Hawaii, like it is a constant perfect temperature. I even said that about like I had a cousin that lived right outside of LA for a little bit. She was like, of all the bullshit of Southern California, like she's like the weather is pretty consistent and consistently like good on the coast.
I think Colorado is the one exception I would make when it comes to heat, because I know it's a dry heat, and I know if I want to get away from the heat, all I have to do is move up. I have to go up into the mountains.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's where I want to be anyway. I want to be in the mountains. So it would not be a compromise. It would be me getting what I want.
Right.
I used to be one of those people that was like, Jesus, at this temperature, like people would be like dry heat versus like humid heat. Like hot is hot. Until I moved up here. And then they were like the first day it hit 100. I didn't break a sweat. And I was like, what? Like I'm used to 100. That's not worried about that.
Yeah. Here it's
Liz dragged my fat ass out
You
for
have
a
never-
walk.
It's surprisingly humid here. There's not a whole lot of water, but it's humid anyway. So you don't sweat a whole lot if you're standing still, but if you get moving, you will be.
Listen, man, I'm pretty sure I'll sweat like a pig.
Mississippi feels like Satan's throat, and there ain't two ways around it.
Yeah, I'm sure this is nothing like it is down further south. It's not even close to Minnesota humidity either, because that's, if you've never heard, they call it the land of 10,000 lakes because it literally has over 10,000 lakes in the state. So you can guess where the humidity comes from. But here we don't have that many lakes. We have two big rivers. We have the Sioux River, and then we have the Mississippi. Or not Mississippi, I meant to say Missouri. Sorry, the big difference there. Missouri River, not Mississippi.
I was gonna say, I was like, man, I was trying to think. I didn't think that you were in an area with through.
Mississippi goes through Minnesota. I was thinking of Minnesota.
A pretty straight line. Like
Yeah.
That was a slip up.
All you Yankees make those.
I know we do.
I had so many people. Well, you're from Missouri, right? Nope.
We always called Missouri misery because we went there once on a family vacation and we all got sick on the way back, and it was just sheer misery.
Like, man, pizza food.
Which one is the good food?
Mississippi.
I've never been.
We have the seafood. We have the barbecue.
What the heck are you supposed to be?
Barbecue. But it's a meat, not a grill.
What?
No.
US Marine?
Yes, ma'am.
That was when they moving up here. People would be like, "Oh, we're gonna barbecue," and I'd be like, "Hell yeah!" I get there and be like, "Fucking burgers and hot dogs." I'm fine with burgers and hot dogs. I just want to know. Like, I don't want to get like hyped up for barbecue.
Right.
It's not a
'cause
barbecue. Grill.
It's
I had that from Greg.
Mm-hmm.
That like, there's a difference between grilling and barbecue.
But barbecuing is like the process you do. Like you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a very
and,
specific
like,
thing.
The kind of meat you use. Like you don't barbecue hamburgers.
Right.
All right. Let's see here. So, who's taking first watch?
I'll go for it.
Okay. Then, in that case, go ahead and give me a
Perception.
hard perception check And I'm going to flip a destiny point to upgrade it to 1 red, 2 purple.
What's your name?
I am Walt. What's yours?
Right.
I missed that. Are we both doing it?
No, she is.
Okay.
Two success, 2 disadvantage.
Beautiful.
Okay. Okay. I would say about halfway through your watch. Like I'm assuming you guys are all
You're cutting out a little bit. We're doing what?
sorry, I said I assume you guys are sleeping 4 of you together. Right? Like you and Liz, or I should say Keltar and Inez, Mary and Henry are all like bedding down in the same area, whether it's like you guys pick one of the alcoves or what have you. Like you're making camp in the same general area, right?
I like the idea of how we did it last time, where we picked a specific one of those burning chambers and we slept there.
Yeah, I assume you guys would probably just use the same one.
Okay.
No need to like move camp or anything.
Yeah.
So Inez, about halfway through your quote unquote watch. Now, where are you for be like up and awake? You're gonna be at the entrance to the alcove.
I'm going to be at the entrance. I'm trying to look outside.
Oh, you're
Like
gonna
I
be
said, I'm
looking
looking like to try and see if I can like.
nocturnal
without-
predators
yeah.
or something. Okay, so you're gonna be at the front door of the
Uh-huh.
temple. Okay. You don't specifically see anything like outside, but you do hear some shit from inside the temple. And
Even fucking there.
it's not clear what it is.
That's
Would you like
freaky.
to?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Oh, but first, real quick, sorry guys, pause because this popped up. Do you have an extra plug in there? Do you know?
I don't, but if you don't mind digging around over there, there should be a plug-in.
Okay, I'm gonna read this all real quick, but I just got the warning.
Yeah.
Tell me battery.
Stopping you. Oh, you're like,
Me, sorry.
oh, you're good. I lost my so give me a second. All right.
Go ring around your hand down there. See if you can.
It always goes to the same spot.
Sorry, my computer's about to die.
That's all right.
Pass me your charging cord. Oh, she's done.
Excuse me, bud.
All right, pass me the plug-in. Big phone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why Apple's.
Please tell me.
So you know how your Apple uses your thumb to open?
Not anymore, but yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We use face recognition now.
Oh, well, same thing then. So, and Dan, you'll like this. If your phone uses your personal information, like a passcode, to open it, the police cannot make you open it without a warrant. However, if you like, if it just uses like your thumbprint or your face, it's not considered personal information, and they can force you to unlock your phone with it.
Okay, so
Pause. Before they see anything, can they count that as evidence? So if I was like, "Oh yeah, give me my phone," and then I just like boom on the ground.
They if they can, yeah, they'll get you for destruction of evidence or impeding of an investigation.
I get that they can arrest me for anything at that moment.
Yeah,
but can they charge me with?
Probably they can charge you with impeding an investigation, because what's going to happen is, like, then they're going to say, okay, well, she was attempting to tamper with evidence. They'll get a warrant for the phone, and they'll have a guy plug it in and check the hard drive, and whatever they find will be evidence.
I'm not saying there would be evidence. I would just want to throw it back in their face. And they're like, no, I'm just for the principle of it. Like,
well, I mean, how many times have we tested?
So mine doesn't have a fingerprint reader or face recognition, so that.
But you can choose to turn off the face recognition or use the passcode.
That's what I would recommend doing then.
Okay, so I'm better off putting in the passcode. You're saying?
Ridiculous.
What?
You're better off putting in the passcode?
No, you're better off turning off the facial recognition or the thumb thing, because then you can honestly yeah, it has that capability, but like I don't have that capability enabled.
I would have to open the phone to enable that, and I'm not doing that.
Like it would just be a loophole. You'd still have to use the passcode.
Right. As long as they can't use thumbprint or your face to open the phone, then they can't compel you to reveal personal information, like your password. That's considered protected personal information, and they would need a warrant to force. So it's one of those things where if you don't give them a decent reason to open your phone, like, you know what I mean, to where, like, if you don't give them a reason to where they could arrest you and then go to a judge and say, hey, we need to open the phone, they're going to need to convince the judge that there's something on, they have to be specific about it. There's something on the phone. However, if you do what Liz was talking about, where you just like, oh, you need my phone, and you smash it, they're going to be like, okay, well, she's trying to hide something. Right. That's reason enough. Like, if I throw a baggie out of my car, like, because the cops are chasing me, that baggie is definitely worth, like, a judge would be like, oh, yeah, you definitely need to go get that baggie. Like, of course.
Can log it in, yeah.
You know, like, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's an interesting distinction to make.
Well, thanks for doing my shit sucks. Appreciate it.
I'm just saying, keep yourself safe, Liz. It's a lot of snitches out there.
Sometimes matter of principle, I do not have facial recognition turned on, and I do not have a thumbprint reader, so I'm good.
Smart. Yeah, I told you about going to my birthday party that my mom threw for me with the family, and there being a narc there, right?
I think so. It sounds familiar.
Okay, where the my grandfather's, or he's not really my grandma's husband, nephew, or what the fuck ever, now lives in the area, and he comes to my birthday party. It's like, I don't know this guy. I don't even want to see half the people there, but whatever. It's mostly for my mom. And Liz came with, of course. And it's in Idaho. It's on Coeur d'Alene at my aunt's house. And so I'm talking to this dude. I was like, oh, man, like, what do you do? And he's like, well, I was in the... and then I got a job as a civilian contractor working with the DEA to show that... And I was like, oh, so you're a narc. And he's like, well, no, I was contracted with them to teach them how to use this new imaging equipment to...
Even worse, he turned people into narcs.
Right.
Like better narcs.
To bust pot growers all over the country. And he's like, everyone has pretty much figured out that it's just better to steal power. So, like, we can't catch them on the 12-12 cycles we used to back in the day. Yeah, so we use this special imaging equipment to, like, you know, like, see what's going on and catch these pot operations. And I was like, awesome. It's Idaho. like my other buddy Dan, the guy I work with, he knows a guy that got arrested for possession because he had the ash from a joint in a joint tube in his car as he drove through Idaho. Like, these guys are crazy about marijuana. And I'm like, great, Mom. I'm probably holding. I don't know. I haven't checked my pockets, but like, it's a good
Your
bet.
backpack. I don't check my backpack anymore.
There's a good bet that there's some weed in there. Like, whether it's a little bottle of tincture or what. Like, there's, and you invited a narc to my birthday. Cool. Really cool, guys. I'm really glad we're all in this situation together.
Oh my goodness. That is such a ridiculous infringement of rights. This is why I'm so mad about the war on drugs. It's just wrong on so many levels.
Yup. Yes, sir.
I mean, it was meant to ruin people's lives. It wasn't meant to get drugs off the street away from good people, because people aren't going to do drugs, aren't going to go buy drugs. You know what I mean? Like, it was never a problem.
Have you heard of something called Clinton hash?
No.
Okay, I just heard about it. You can Google it. It's a real thing. So what the government used to do, and this was early Clinton, I want to say late Bush, early Clinton, and then all up through Clinton into Bush 2. This guy was talking about how you could buy hash, and it came with a gold stamp, like a gold stamp that was like made in Afghanistan. And it was really good shit, and that everybody wanted. And what would happen is like I can't remember if it was the CIA or somebody else, but somebody was like, they would basically just load camels up with guns and ammo and set them loose in the desert and like just wait. And then a little while later, a couple days later, the camels would come back full of drugs. And like they all called it Clinton hash. Like everybody knew what it was. Everybody knew who was bringing it in. And like that was the primo stuff.
Wow.
It was imported by government officials.
Well, I mean, the CIA has been involved in hard narcotic trade in the U.S. and Mexico for years.
I know.
Yep.
The CIA is almost single-handedly responsible for massive narcotic operations in the southwest of the U.S. They're such hypocrites.
Oh yeah,
all over the U.S. now. It was how they got hippies and black people into prison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The voting booth.
I try to explain this to certain members of my family who don't understand, who want to vote against.
Me too.
And it's just, I don't know how many times I have to say it. It's not loving to ban the drug because the drug isn't the problem. And then I go into, like, I could explain it, but you guys already know what I'm talking about. And you know exactly where I'm coming from.
Guns, like the people that pull up these mass shootings are fucked up in the head. You know what I mean? Like, not the gun doing it.
Let's make the thing illegal. Well, gee, Grandma, how do you think criminals get things that are illegal? Not by buying them legally. They go through the black market, or they steal it, or criminals are going to commit crimes. So punish the criminal for the crime.
See, and this is where I come back to, like, it's all about smart legislation. And like in Alaska, there's a law that says, because like we love guns, we fucking love guns. We almost give them away. Like, oh, you're 18, here's your gun. Like, you're gonna need it to fend off the douchebags, the drug dealers, and like, yeah, I saw that. Like the douchebags and the bears. Like, but here's your gun. But there's a law that says if you commit a crime in Alaska with a gun, you don't have to use the gun. You don't have to brandish the gun. If you have the gun on you for the commission of a crime, automatic 10 years, you can't plead.
Whoa.
What I like about that is for the rest of us that aren't committing crimes, we're carrying guns and we are safe as can be from that law. It does not apply to me at all. It just, unless I go commit a crime. But literally the only people that get caught up in that is people who are committing a crime while they have a gun on you. So you do things like
Corinne. So Corinne is my rather liberal roommate. And we were having a discussion about guns the other day versus like, using them for sport and like to fend off like pests, like coyotes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or for like hunting as opposed for like home security. Because she's like read articles and like looked into research that said that you're like 400 times more susceptible to like the gun somehow hurting you if you
That's nonsense.
you're more likely to be involved, like you're more likely to be hurt by a gun if you own a gun. Just like you're more likely to be hurt by a car.
Something like that.
You know what I
that
mean?
would be like an interesting, like to propose that and see what she thought about that.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things. It's like, oh, we're gonna go buy weed. Everybody leave. Like
right.
Like don't want to get caught with it. You know what I mean? Because in Alaska, possession isn't even really, even before it was legal. Which I mean, it's legal now, but like even before it was legal, possession. Like there was a judge.
A few times I had cocaine with a 38 special in the center console. One day I went out to go get our Coke, and Jeff was like, "Steeper's guns in there." He was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, that'd be no good.
No good, especially with Mississippi cops. They're looking for a reason.
Yeah, like there were judges in Alaska. If you bring if anybody brings a case and it's less than like 5 ounces, and like just to give you reference, remember all that weed that I bought that one day
that was less than 1 ounce, right?
It has to be, yeah.
That was about half an ounce.
Okay.
So 10 times that amount. If you show up with a possession case that is less than 10 times the amount of weed I showed you, I am throwing it out, and I will consider fining the officer that brought to that pushed the issue.
Used up our
That's
tax
Right.
dollars.
This is a waste of our time and money.
Like you ran.
We
the
have
clock,
meth heads to
paperwork,
arrest.
bitch.
Like we got.
That's what always got me. I was like, there are people committing real crimes, lucky,
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
crimes.
Right. No, it's good times. Anyways, so Liz, you hear?
What do I hear?
You don't know what you hear because you got disadvantage, but you hear something coming from inside.
But like, what kind of sound? Like what? Like is it like a walking or?
I would say it's a muffled, indistinct noise, but like recurring. No like it's happening, but there's not a pattern. Like it's not like water dripping or like footsteps. Like there's not like that regular. But it is like a kind of a muffled noise, just kind of on the edge of your hearing.
Okay, just a
This
stirring.
is something.
Okay.
You're gonna need to go investigate to find out.
Okay.
Where are you investigating first?
Oh dear.
Can I tell the direction the sound is coming from?
Behind you.
So I'm looking out the front.
So you're looking out the front door. Going like the hallway just goes back, and there's like those little like alcoves that pop out.
I should start walking back down the hallway.
Okay.
With my blaster pistol, because I have both at this site area.
Do you have the flashlight?
I'm gonna kind of like put down the rifle in a place that's like easily accessible, so I'm gonna run back and just like grab it.
Okay.
I have a flashlight and my blaster pistol.
Okay. Now, where are you leaving this rifle? At the entrance to the cave? Or the entrance to the temple?
I'm gonna go back and put it like right outside the door to like the little alcove thing that they're all sleeping in.
Okay. So as you make your way back,
It's a little closer than that to me.
you hear one.
Does Havoc hear this?
No, because Havoc passed out. You did not specifically say you were going to make
Okay,
sure
that's
Havoc was awake. So I'm assuming that Havoc is not keeping watch.
No, him and Keltar are snuggling. The cuddle puddle.
I'm not going to lie, a giant dog or cat thing
would be super
would be
comfy.
based like I always said like a grizzly bear if you could train it. Like I would never sleep in a bed. I would just sleep on top of my pet grizzly. Just like
It's like perfect body pillow.
just like CPAP mask and everything. Just that's how I would do it. You don't even care. My 265 or 269 or whatever I'm at now, like would not be anything. Like the biggest risk would be he'd roll over and I'd fall, he'd crush me. That would be the most realistic. 500 pounds, easy. Big shit.
I think it's 500 pounds weight is not what the horse weighs a ton.
Yeah, like there are bears that weigh over it. They're big.
I don't usually think about bears.
Can you imagine if somebody tried to mess with you in the night and they woke up the bear? You wouldn't need a gun.
I don't know if I would ever need a gun. What?
Wake up the bear?
I don't know if I would ever need a fire if I had a well-trained grizzly bear. Because, like, it can chase down anything I want to hunt. Like, all right, Teddy. Because if I had a bear, I'd have to call Teddy for sure.
Real original.
It's funny as fuck.
Where did Teddy Bear come from Mississippi? Teddy Roosevelt was hunting bears.
That makes sense.
When he was part of the Rough Riders.
Huh?
When he was part of the Rough Riders.
Yeah, they brought him a little sickly cub because he hadn't shot anything. He was getting real pissy all weekend. And he was like, yo, I'm not going to shoot this fucking sickly cub.
I haven't killed anything in weeks.
He was like, God.
I'm not a monster.
Not desperate, okay? I'm not walking and dealing with what I conquered.
But anyways, that's hilarious.
So the teddy bear got him.
That's very funny.
I want to hear what happens to an Az.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so as you approach the room, you hear two distinct sounds. One is very clearly somebody like kind of talking in their sleep. And you also see a diffuse light that you don't recognize coming from inside the alcove. And then you also hear the sound of a rock falling and rolling further, like deeper into the temple. Like it sounds like a rock has like slid off of one of the cave-in piles, and it's like you can hear like bouncing down.
It's like something had to have unlodged it.
Possibly. Or gravity, you never know. But by the time you get up to the alcove, the light has faded away before you can determine the source. Go ahead and give me a hard perception check.
Wait, is that light coming from where we're sleeping?
Yes.
It's out in the woods.
Are you assassinating me in my sleep?
Wait, the light is coming from where they're sleeping?
Yes, from the alcove where they're sleeping.
Oh.
Same place that you hear sleep talk.
And he said hard percent plus 3.
Well, I talk in my sleep all the time. I regularly wake myself up talking.
Oh, that's cancel out.
By the time you get there, it is unclear where the light was coming from or who was talking in their sleep. I'll tell you what. I'll throw you a little bit. The words did not sound like basic.
Okay. And it didn't sound like anything that I would like have heard like adjacent. Like I know how Spanish sounds.
No.
I know how Japanese sounds.
Right.
Okay.
No, you would not have a frame of reference for this. Like
okay.
It was like it sounded like as you got closer, it went from this like diffuse sound in the background, the back of your brain. You got closer. It sounded like there were like syllables and spaces where words were, but you don't know what language it was. And by the time you got to the door or to the entranceway, the light hit you. You weren't quick enough. And you rolled poorly.
And I rolled poorly.
Are you gonna wake us up?
That cave-in pile, like further back.
Okay.
Are you gonna wake me up?
No, not right now.
Okay. In that case, give me another hard perception check, and this time take a black die because where you're going has because you have to use the flashlight.
Where is that hula bitch? You said hard?
Hard
A
with
black die?
Yeah, so 3 purple, 1 black.
Oh.
You know what? Wait. From the Destiny, that's 1 red, 2 purple, 1 black.
You mean a reroll? Okay.
Oh, did you already roll? Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. You already rolled. Oh, you failed anyways. Perfect. So you don't notice anything. There are rocks and like chunks clearly from the cave in, like, but you haven't explored this area enough to notice if any of them are new rocks. Like you don't see anything like specific. You know what I mean?
All right, so I'm gonna bend down, pick up a rock, and kind of just like chunk it, like with the same force I would imagine like a rock falling off of. Like I'm not throwing it.
Kind of like underhanded toss.
Like I'm gonna recreate that sound back toward the. So I throw the rock, a rock, back toward the pile.
Like there's several places where like the alcoves have caved in and stuff. There's not like
Okay.
any one pile.
Oh, okay, so I kind of like toss it onto one of those. Like you're trying to recreate the noise of a rock falling.
Okay, give me a average coordination check. Give me an easy coordination check.
Is it average or easy?
Easy. Yeah, you check the rock, no problem. And it doesn't like bouncing down, like bouncing across the pile, doesn't sound right compared to the sound that you heard.
But I definitely heard a rock striking something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm gonna pick up a rock, but this time I'm gonna roll it across the floor.
Okay, give me another coordination check. That sounds closer, but still not quite the same.
All right, I'm gonna do it one more time, and I'm gonna try like some kind of. I'm just trying to see like what would make. You know what I mean?
Go ahead and give me a coordination check.
This is the last time I probably.
I would say. I tell you what. There you go. Not quite the same. The closest you've gotten to is kind of lightly, like tossing the rock so that it kind of rolls and slides across the ground. Closest as you've gotten, but you haven't been able to do anything that's quite spot on.
Okay. I'm gonna try and see if there's any like open rooms that like if there's anything like open, my eyes poke around it.
There's several alcoves, those like bonfire area alcoves that are open, that like you could go and look in.
I will do that.
Okay. Give me a hard perception check with 1 black die.
I need to write down my perception again. You said hard perception with 1 black?
Hard perception with 1 black.
Random weight mode.
Okay. You investigate the first like 2 or 3 available alcoves, But you can see that like after that, it starts to get like you're getting pretty far from where you've set up camp, like from where you camped,
Right.
and like it starts to like looks like it comes to a T somewhere up ahead, or like you get deeper into the temple if you go too much further. And what you see is in these alcoves is again it's the burn pit, pictograms and stuff. You do see like one that is more pictures than writing, and it shows like a figure